Hello, my name is Kevin Gonzalez, and today we are going to talk about international political contemporary debates. As first question, we have if we should support the claim that the hegemon is needed in order to create a liberal world economy. There are several observers that accept the general notion of the need for a hegemon to establish a liberal world economy. But they dispute the idea that US economic power has declined substantially. The United States remains very strong in fungible energy sources like military, economy, technology, or territory. There has been a relative decline in the economy and the technology sectors, but this has been inevitable for the US in 1950, when the Western Europe and Japan had not yet been revealed. The lead content was abnormally high. The United States continues to maintain its leading position in the world in high-tech innovation and competition, but also the United States, particularly strong among the most advanced countries, information-rich industries are not more important than economic power in economy strength. Finally, the United States is very strong in non-material energy, such as popular culture with universal appeal, such as film, television, and internet. The second question is if the United States currently an altruistic or predatory hegemon. The United States began to experience a trade deficit in the post-war period. Policies are very suited to national interests. The United States didn't support the free world economy after 1945, but did adopt protectionist trade measures to support its own economy. The United States began to play the role of predatory hegemony. In other words, the United States began to pay more attention to its own national interests, began to ignore its role as champion of the open world economy, and might even began to use an advantageous power position. This is a new era characterized by international trade protectionism, monetary stability, and economic crisis. Relatively speaking, the decline of the United States is no longer the obvious dominant force in maintaining a free world economy. The next question is what is soft power and which countries have it? One country can achieve the desired results in world politics because other countries want it. Follow him and admire his values. Follow his example and point out his health and openness. With this in mind, it's very important to set the agenda in the world politics and attract others such those forced to change through the threat or use of military and economic weapons. This power aspect making others want what you want. Next question. Define the development problem in the developing world and discuss how it should be analyzed, which theory is the most helpful. Most of the third world countries are colonies controlled by European countries. Colonial development is an imperial issue, but not a strictly international issue. The decolonization that began in the 1950s marked the introduction of a larger scale of the research for international development. The new countries in Africa and Asia have become members of the United Nations and have expressed their voices on the need to focus on development. The Cold War confrontation between East and West means that both sides want to establish closer ties with developing countries which hurt the interests of others. What is economic globalization? what are the benefits and drawbacks of economic globalization, and what are the implications for a sovereign statehood. The term globalization refers to the growth of trade in goods and services, increased mobility of capital, and the trend towards faster and cheaper communications and the transportation. Globalization has many advantages. Globalization has created jobs, lowered the prices of the consumer's goods, fueled innovation, and contributed to the world peace. Some points against globalization: high food inequality for our workers and contributed to environmental degradation. The problems of development and change of the sovereign state in a very direct way. The national economy is crucially important resource base for the nation state. When the national economy are in the process of integration into a economy in context of economic globalization, the whole basic modern state would change critically. Think of or two projects based on the IPE theory. Economic liberalism appears to be the approach with most success in practice. So-called free market economies have been highly successful. State-led economies have not. This has certainly helped increase the confidence of economic liberals in the validity of the views. Over the past few decades, the theoretical views of the professional economists have dominated not merely in the study of economic matters, but also in the general field of IPE and indeed also in the other areas of political and social science. Neo-Marxists and other critical theories have reacted against the entry of methods and theories from neoclassical economics into IPE. They especially argue against the basic idea that individuals are always rational and self-seeking, and they always know what they want, namely, to be better off. Rational cost-benefit analysis has limitations in explaining much individual behavior. Given the cost of going to the polls, why would anyone vote when there are not visible benefits?